What is up, my golden boys and girls? Chandler here, and welcome back to the competitive layers saga. Or not competitive. It's not a saga. It's just the competitive parts thing we're doing. Whatever. We're doing layers. We're not just doing this. There's some other layers over here. We got like God, duel, all that stuff. My brother fucked up the first take, so we're gonna try and do the next take, and we'll just try and get this done. So. Let me grab... So I want to start off by talking about how I'm going to probably do this in a different way. So I'm going to do it through attack. I don't need you guys here. I'm going to go through like attack layers first and just explain what they're for. I'll pick the layers that are like kind of the same type, and then I'll just tell you what you can use these guys for. Is there any other layers that are good for attack? All right, so let's start off with Q2. Q2, really good for anti-attack. Anti-attack basically means that you're going to be heavier. Also, just want to say a disclaimer. There are certain layers that are no longer viable, so you got to be very wary of that, but they are there because they used to be really good. Good on a heavier combo. Spriggan, kind of a rogue option, but very fun to use when it can get some pretty crazy bursts. Very, very aggro in the stadium, and it definitely causes double bursts a lot. Excalibur, amazing KO attacker, like top notch. Really good. Though it is outclassed by Victory Valkyrie. Amaterios, kind of in the same spot as Spriggan, except I don't think it causes double burst as much. Very rogue option, but I like Amaterios, so I wanted to put it in this video. Victory Valkyrie, best KO attack in the classic format, I'm pretty sure. There might be better. Fried Pasta, if I say anything stupid, which I probably will in this video, please feel free to correct me in the comment section. And these two are both for the same thing, which is burst attack. Valkyrie is definitely the premier one, the one everyone uses, but Ifrit does come close. Stamina. Also, let's do Lost Longness. This used to be really good. It's no longer viable in any format. Maybe a little viable and limited, but it's outclassed by all the other Longnesses allowed in that format, which are Nightmare and Bloody. But still really cool anyway, so yeah. Used to be really good on Polished Variable. Chaos boasts the highest stamina in Classic, I'm pretty sure. Just has really weak teeth to back it up. So use a dash driver to alleviate it, like High Excel Dash, which is like the only like legal stalling option in Classic. Maybe you could get away with Spiral Dash. I'm not sure. I want to experiment with Spiral Dash. How would that... Hang on. How does that actually feel? Not bad. I want to see where that goes later. Dark Death Scyther, the meta, it just has more burst resistance than normal Death Scyther, but boasts less stamina, but still really good nonetheless for its flywheel effect. Next we have is Neptune, kind of more defensive than attack, but you could still use it on combos such as Spread Revolve and that kind of stuff. I mean, Spread Revolve has always really been kind of a staple for Neptune, but like it's still really good to use. And lastly, Anubis, another Bay that can be used on Spread Revolve. It is definitely one of the best stamina layers in the game. Also really good for stalling. Lastly, defense. We have Gigant Gaia, which is really good for burst defense, which is really nice. Gets hit by like a Victory Valkyrie at like moving at it at high velocity. Victory Valkyrie will like burst really easily. This layer definitely does a good job at being a defense type, even if it is a balance type. And it's just got some really strong clicks. Like I'm gonna use Spread. I have Spread Revolve here because it's kind of basic. It is really tight, and when you're also gonna be using it on a dash driver. So at that point, you're like. Yeah, you're not bursting in this format at all. So Gigant Gaia, really good. I don't know if it has teeth. Wait, no, it doesn't have teeth wear. Next up, we have Wolborg, which has pretty good stamina and boasts some pretty high defense. This is definitely one of the layers a lot of people like to use. I know a lot of people use it on Gravity Orbit. I remember Wombat used it on Bumper Bullet, which is pretty cool. I like that. That's a funny combo, too. But yeah, bullet combos are kind of, I haven't seen a bullet combo in Classic in a while, so I hope to see that soon. Next we have is Odin, which is really good. This is mold 2, so it's not the best mold, but it's still pretty dang good for defense if it's not mold 1. Be afraid of mold 1 Odin. That was all the dual layers. I'm not going to say Storm Spriggan because the layer is really bad. Alright, let's move over to God Layer. You can already see some stuff, so let me organize this a little bit. Attack, 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 also attack. Yeah. So, Kukulkan, very rogue. Usually want to use it on, think, stationary attack, kind of like an Excalibur, because that's kind of what the shape is reminded me of for the longest time. And I hear it's okay, but it's definitely outclassed by a lot of the other Chozi bays in the limited format. So this guy's kind of out of his style. So yeah, beat Kukulkan. Next up, we have Twin Nemesis, probably the most solid attack layer in all of Limited. I think Shindog gives it a lot of praise. And then I think everyone else gives it a lot of praise for being really good at stamina. But I remember back in God Layer, this was so freaking good. Like, the random layer one, it used to be super cheap, and I knew I should have bought it, but it was super duper good. Next we have is Nightmare Longinus, the premier opposite spin attack layer. This is really good in opposite spin, and you can also add a frame to it. You can also, like, Nightmare Longinus on, like, angle or bump or turn. Like, Extreme Iron, any really cool attack driver. I'm actually probably going to do a little bit of testing with Nightmare Longinus on Venture in the future, but because I really want to see how Venture does on, like, Nightmare. Also, the Venture driver feels tighter than normal. I want to throw that out there. It has a very tight lock. Anyway, back away from the DB stuff I don't care enough about. Next we have is Sieg Excalibur, the meta stationary attack layer. I think there's probably like a couple others that are really good for stationary attack, but this is one of my favorites to use, so in my opinion this probably is like the best in my eyes. Legend Spriggan, also one of the absolute best mobile. Just one of the best mobile attackers back in the day. I'm sure it's outclassed by, like, Hazard Kirbyus, or Sieg Excalibur, or, like, Hasbro Chozetsu Valkyrie. But, yeah, I don't think it's still really up there. Spriggan Requiem, haha, it used to be really good, but now it's banned in Limited, which is the only format where this layer would have shined. So, yeah. But it was basically just a dual spin Drain Fafnir back in the day, so, like, it was really good. Speaking of Drain Fafnir, this is probably the safest layer in the game for Limited. Like, the TT one is stupid safe. Like, spam, put this thing on 7 something drift. You got yourself freaking the safest combo in the damn game, my guy. Like, this is actually stupid. Like, you don't need a brain to use this, I swear. Next we have Garuda. Garuda feels kind of risky now. I'm like, I've tried using Garuda, and I keep getting burst a lot, and it's kind of sad. Like, I really wish this layer was actually good, but like it doesn't. I've always been using the Hasbro one, so it always felt like a really safe option, but now it just feels like I get hit wrong and I die. So I got to do a little more practice with this layer before I can say how safely good it is, but I know from some people it's like one of the best layers in the game. Just with Chozi dominating the meta in Limited, it's definitely probably outclassed by something else. So, yeah. Ultra Chronos, outclassed by Hasbro Monster, but still pretty good for defense. Balkesh, or not Bahamut. Balkesh isn't legal, so if you want to use Bahamut, you're stuck with this thing, and this thing bursts stupid easily against right spin. Galaxy Zeus, outclassed by Monster. Guardian Kirbyus used to be the best stamina layer in God, and also used to be legal and limited in Classic, but got banned because it was too good. Chaos, best same spin defense layer. I am breezing through this now. This layer is really good for same spin. Alright, Chozi time. I'm going to take my time on Chozi for you guys, because we got GT and Sparking, which are going to take a while, long while. We're not even 10 minutes in. Let's go. Chozy. So, certain layers here are just were really good back in the day when Chozy was fresh, but I would say ones that are legal in limited. So we'll do the ones that are legal in limited first, which are BX, HK, BL, S Alpha, and I think that's actually it. Oh, and GF. So let's start off with Shadow Amateraos. Shadow Amateraos is the best defense layer in Classic at the current moment. It definitely beats Shining out because Shining has those weird blades that move. This one doesn't. So it's just kind of it's really just kind of a circle at this point. So this is really good and limited. Geist Fafnir, definitely a much better, one of the more risky but heavier equalizers to drain Fafnir. It's still really good. And yeah. So pretty dang good. I gotta find something quickly. One of the layers. Alright. Yeah, I had to grab it. But still, Drain Fafnir's very good. Guardian Kirbyus, actually stupid good for attack. You'd be actually surprised how good this thing is. Fried Pasta opened the door of Hazard Kirbyus supremacy to me, so I think that's pretty cool. Sea Excalibur, pretty good for attack. You would actually underestimate it. It's not actually as bad as most people say. So, yeah. Bloody Longinus, you can do dumb shit like this and still have it be viable. I'm not kidding. This combo's fucking stupid. Alright, back to the Chozy meta. So these were all layers that were good back in the day that are no longer viable. And I can probably explain why. Oh, wait, this is viable. Doesn't have enough testing to say, like, why it's viable, but it's still really good. Alright, let's do it. Archer Hercules. Still actually viable in Standard, and to an extent. Like, I remember I saw K using this in Standard in, like, one of the Standard tournaments, and did really well. So Archer Hercules definitely will outlived its lifespan. It's still pretty decent. Like, if you want to use it on, like, something really defensive, you can actually get away with it. Like, Sting Extend Plus, you can win with that. Perfect Phoenix. Perfect Phoenix is, of course, probably meta. Pair this thing with a level chip, and that was stupid. Pair this thing with a level chip, and it becomes like one of the best. Like, it's such a heavy layer. It's really heavy. Like, Dead Hades. Used to be really good for, like, stamina attack. I never really saw Dead Hades used, but I remember, like, in early GT, a lot of people liked using Dead Hades on Drake, and I can kind of see where they're coming from on that one. Orb Aegis, just an Archer Hercules substitute. Hell Salamander. Why do people still think this is good? It's really not. It just gets destroyed by any left spin. Chozy Spriggan. Never use this in opposite spin. This is the same spin only layer. Is where it shines. Chozy Valkyrie and Chozy Achilles, kind of the same category. It's still a debate which one was better for attack. I'm with Achilles on this one, but a lot of people like to argue it was Valkyrie. I'll probably do a testing video which one is better if you guys want to see that. Leave that in the comment section below, and I will see what's up. All right, GT now. We're moving on to the single-handed, probably the best Beyblade format of all time. Was the GT format, when GT was fresh in the mind. So a lot of the things here, like the only real part here that are still viable are probably Naked and Master. But I still see people every now and again bringing out an Imperial or as Vi. And on some rare occasions, Judgment Intact. You don't really see Lord as much anymore, which is kind of disappointing. Lord Spriggan is actually a great. Let's start off with Lord, actually. Now, let's start off with the weights. So, for weights, Really, nothing's out of the question. You could use Retsu for, like, attack. You could use Goku for pretty much anything. Zan for anything. Gen for something that is really burst prone. And you could use Zan for pretty much anything. So, and 10. Like, these are all really good for pretty much anything. I would say you would want to use Retsu for attack, though. Got it. It feels so good to say the layer weight names. Goku, Retsu, Ten, Sen, Zan, Gen, Go. Oh, I remember Go actually used to be semi-viable. I remember seeing Deceased Crab use it at Strange Cereal, so that will be over there. So yeah. Chips. Probably the best right spin chip, to be honest. I actually was amazed from how hard it is to burst the Achilles chip. It has surprisingly good locks. It's just a better Dragon chip. Like, as good as Dragon's chip is, it's really good. And then Dragon 2 is also... Dragon 2 is still eh. I mean, it's still fine. But, like, there are two chips. I'll get to that later. I'll leave these aside. But, yeah, Dragon's also really good. Fafnir is just a left spin dragon. Spriggan is really good. Diabolos is just Spriggan with a little bit more beefy teeth, I'm pretty sure. No, Diabolos is just Spriggan with, like, Ashura teeth, where it's, like, one... Yeah, it's, like, one click on one side, and... Let me see this. Let me explain this. Yeah, see, there's 3 locks. There's only 2 on that side. That's how it is. Valkyrie is still really good, and Bahamut is just a left spin Ashura, and Diabolos is still an absolute unit. So, let me explain how... Oh, I forgot about Odin. Oh, shoot. Odin is actually still pretty good. Yeah, let's grab Odin. Odin is like yes, just one of the best chips. Knockout is also pretty okay. I know Myth is really good in standard. If we had a GT only format, I'm pretty sure people would get use out of this. And it's also really freaking heavy. Like, give this thing, like, I'm gonna explain this right now. You give this thing a Goku weight. And I'm pretty sure this tiny thing weighs more than Perfect Phoenix. But that's besides the point. The point is, Odin is by far the tightest chip in the Beyblade series, in the Beyblade Burst series, which is really good. So I'm going to put together some layer combos for you for GT, just to show you guys what I would use. So now we already went over Knockout. Lord is an overall great dual spin. The right spin and left spin. Right spin has more offense, left spin has more defense. It even has little hooks. It had little hooks like Judgment for it, for like smash attack in right. And in left, it had other stuff. It had better equalization potential, which is awesome. Definitely a very cool Beyblade and a good successor to the Spriggan line. Next up, we have Judgment. Always good to own spares of these guys because they do wear down, but they have rubber hooks that allow it to gain crazy smash attacks on its opponents, and it has a rubber tab that allows it to have a 50-50 chance. I swear to God, everyone thinks, oh yeah, it's just a burst stopper. It prevents the bait from bursting. You fucking dinguses. This works like this. On tighter discs, like, say, the painted around. Yeah, that's going to be tighter, but the gimmick is, say it hits this side. There's no tab. It takes the full blunt recoil and self-bursts. You hit this side, you have rubber, and your disc doesn't slide at all. It's 50-50 chance. It's RNG, which is why I love this Beyblade so freaking much. But you should always have spare, because those rubber tabs do tend to wear down. Zwei. Best left spin attacker in that era. Still kind of viable now, but not quite. Tempest, or not Tempest, Imperial. Those were the days when this thing was really freaking good. Sadly, isn't anymore, but we love Imperial anyway. Next up, we have Dread. Dread's okay. Dread used to be pretty good when it came out, like a very risky equalizer. But I don't see it having any potential right now. I just like it because it used to be really good, and I used to actually like to use it. Next up, we have Tact, which also is kind of in the same place as Dread. It used to be very good, but now it's just kind of outclassed. I like this color, though. Orange and gold. Yum. Next up, we have Master, which is probably the only part that I know is completely 100% still viable. Very good. And Naked's also kind of in the same spot as Master. So I'm going to put together, like, 3... how many chips do we got? Yeah. I think we can do a couple combos. I'm going to try Master, Judgment, and Lord. So basically for Lord, you would want to use, like, Lord Fafnir because decent teeth, and you would want... Well, you could actually, no, go with... No, what we're going to do is we're going to go with Lord Odin in right spin. We're going to go with Lord Achilles Goku, Judgment Achilles Goku. And I forgot about a certain chip. There was a certain chip that was there that I forgot to explain with Imperial. Was that the tightest chip in my testing, or from my friend's testing, was the Pegasus chip on it. And safely say, yeah, you get a pretty good grip on the layer base from the Pegasus chip, which is awesome. Which is cool. So you could use Pegasus, and then you could use, of course, like Zwei Diabolos, like all that stuff. Like it's not rocket science. It's common sense. And then you could go with like any other like part you want. Like you could go Diabolos, you could go Spriggan, you could go Bahamut. Like seriously. So yeah, the GT was definitely very fun. I really did enjoy GT because the parts were just so diverse and it was a lot of customability. Then came along Sparking with this whole stupid chassis gimmick. I hated this system for a multitude of reasons. I don't want you guys to feel like, oh, I hate you because you like Sparking. And yes, I do not like you if you like Sparking, if you think it's the best season. But it's nonetheless, it's pretty interesting. So I'm gonna do this for a sec because I think I need to address an elephant in the room. 2 elephants in the room. All right, there we go. Now we can go through with it. So I want to start off with chips. So for chips, of course, your best chip for right spin is Solomon. Your best left spin chip is Helios 2. Your 2 kind of down there chips are Spriggan and Diabolos, and Hyperion 2 is definitely also one of your better right spin chips. So, yeah. So you have all this stuff, and then Fafnir is here because it's kind of just a basic left chip because there's not really anything too special about it, but there are ways you can use this Beyblade. Now, I also do need to address another huge deal about other layers in this because where is that part? I haven't played with these ones in a while. Yeah. All right. Sorry, I had to get a certain disc out. But let's start off with the limit break stuff. Hyperion. I remember Kay said to, like, use it on, like, I think it was Co or something, like, as a last ditch or whatever it was, the Co disc. I personally will stick to the OW disc, thank you very much, because it's consistent, it's balanced, it's pretty dang good. So, yeah. It's always nice. Then we have our burn, like, this is good for anti-attack. I say use it in, kind of, just in the rebound mode, and just use it, like, on, like, destroy or something with, like, a Fafnir chip. You know how it is. Alright, this is the elephant in the room. Rage 3A. This is the only way you use Rage, and you can go on Extreme Dash, Destroy Dash, Venture. Any freaking driver you want, you can use on this thing for attack. Or stationary. I don't care. This is just all around good. Here's another thing. This is the only way you can actually use Hollow effectively is with 3A or 4A and Lucifer 2. Make sure the weighted side is with the scythe and the Lucifer head is pointing downward. Therefore, the weight is the most balanced you can make it. So, yeah. Pretty cool. 2B, Definitely probably one of the best life after death chassis in the game. You can awaken yours, and awakening it does take some time. I have my gold one is in fact awakened, and when we say awakened, it's just worn down. Like, that's kind of like the terminology that's just kind of like, oh yeah, now it's awakened. Oh yes, I broke my Victory Valkyrie, therefore it is awakened. But basically, when you do wear it out, it feels a lot more free spin. A lot more free spinning. Yeah, but you got to be very wary of that. 2A has pretty good life after death. Definitely using a lot in stamina for no damn reason. You see it a lot on Tempest, but that's just me. Still really good for life after death. 2S, you usually see this thing ran on Brave, though this chassis is still not the best. It does have a lot of metal on it, which definitely makes it pretty heavy, but I just can't see it being used for that. 2D. I'm still waiting on a standard 2D, but the worn-out version of 2D is definitely effective for equalizing, and it's also one of the heaviest chassis in the game, so don't worry about not using it. Don't worry about using it. Rings. We already went over chips, so we have to finally go over the rings, and I'll put together a couple of Sparking layer combos for you. And so we have World. It's good in either rotation. There's really no difference. The gimmick on this doesn't even work. Yeah. Curse, really good on 2D when it's not worn down for, like, countering rage. Tempest is something I want to not be spammed, but here we are. Brave is still bad, yet people still insist on using it. Mirage is still one of the best equalizers in the game. So, yeah. Let's assemble a couple combos. Rage, I like to use, or layer combos, which I like to use Rage. I don't like using a metal chip core on Helios. That's just my tastes.